So, welcome to Empire Mining. This is a long overdue video. We haven't shot many. We've been very busy between the computer business and the mining business. So, we're going to boot up this card. We're going to show you really quick. We have a XFX RX 570 RS XXX 8GB DDR5 graphics card. I can't believe I just got through that without messing that up. Basically, this card's been mining for over a year, maybe longer. It's been overheating more and more each month. So we're gonna show you, and we're gonna show you how to do the breakdown of the thermal pads. But a few of the things why this simple minings which we use is loading up. A few things you want to check out on here. You want to make sure that the fans spin freely. With your finger. Make sure they're not stuck. And they're spinning. Not you can tell when they start going wobbly. This card fans are fine, they spin. You also want to make sure the warranty is over on the card. This card, we do know the warranty is expired on there, because if the warranty is not over, I highly recommend replacing it. Most of these cards, including we just sent back an SFX not too long ago, and they're pretty good, and they came back pretty quick. And there's, if you do break the seal on there, they are going to void the RMA, and they're going to make you pay to send it back sometimes. And so, this video is for if you want to chance it and, not care about the RMA, but I highly recommend that you do that. With that being said, check the fans, and if the fans are spinning, this card, we already did all that. We're going to show you, it's 45 degrees right now at the starting of the mining. This card usually, the fans will kick on and off differently, so we're gonna wait and see what goes on here. And so on this one, as soon as this thing starts mining, we should get some fan activity. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, let's see. So we have, I'm gonna recycle. Let's see if I can get it to speed up here. For you miners out there, probably looking at those clock settings, saying they're a little bit odd. This particular card, not this model or brand, but this particular card itself, for some reason, would never run, mine at the normal 1150, 2000 that we do, 900. With that being said, very efficient on these settings, so we never toyed around with it, which is ironic because it's one of the cards that, as far as the overheating went, this was one of the ones that went on us. I don't know if it was coincidental or bad luck, but in any event, there. So basically, what I want to do is I just want to show you and see if the fans start going. So we should see some activity here in a second. So this card right here now, it was in a multi-card rig. We take it out. We have a kind of a test rig that we use here that you're watching in this video right here. All right, so there we go. So now we got 6 mega hash. As you can see, the card's already heating up. The fans will kick on in a second, and basically just there alone shows you. I mean, it's only at 6 mega hash. The card's barely working right now, and it's already hitting 73, 74 temperatures. There goes the fans. Yep. So as you can see, that's a good sign. We're hitting 26 mega hash there. I think it's 83 Celsius there. So there's a good, and I know the fans are kicking on, but that goes to show you right there that the thermal pads and the paste aren't doing their jobs. 92 on the memory already, and it's just starting to mine. See, the fans are fine. They're spinning freely. You can compensate this by adding fans. Adding a big box fan. Whatever you can do. We do that sometimes temporarily, but it's just gonna buy you a few days, few months and it's gonna get that hot. So next step, just want to show you that we're gonna go and show you how to break down this card and replace it and get those temperatures down. And very, very important, especially in the mining world. You don't keep these cards running good, they will die on you. And right now, it's not easy to get them, replaced, in there. But as you can see right there, this card's doing, let's see, it's doing 26 right there. And let's see, I just want to see the last temperature that's going to throw out here. Let's see. This card actually it's out in a nice cold room by itself right now. When it was in the multi card array, so there it is, like 74, 82, and like I said, that's I have this card basically running, compensating to run cool, and those temperatures are way up there for what they should be. Yeah, so I want to let it run for a few minutes when I pause that video there. So now if you look, see, now you got the 82, and those fans are at 30, but they're actually over that because the mining software compensates for that. So basically, we put extra fans and everything on here, and we get it down into where it's not dangerous, but it's, basically a full size fan to extra cool one of these cards. So now we're going to show you steps on how to break this card down and do the thermal pads, and we'll boot it back up and check the temperatures when we're all set. Okay, so now we got the card out of the rig, or temporary rig, and we're gonna at this point with your card you want to vacuum. If you have a vacuum, you want to clean the surface. You got these 4 screws. I'll show you. So that's a warranty screw right there. Really important that you check to make sure you got the RMA, because like I said, once you break that sticker, they will void it. There's a good chance. So what we like to do is, when we take the screw out, we gotta kind of do that. But really important that you double check the RMA. But pretty much you want to vacuum any loose dust or anything out there, and then you want to lay it down, and you want to start with the 2 screws. So these 2 screws here are not spring loaded. They don't hold the thermal pads down on the front side of there. These 4 here are spring loaded. So what you want to do is you want to take them out. As you can see, magnetic screwdriver is good right now to have. See the spring on there. So basically, put those off to the side. The springs shouldn't come off. If they do, just put them back on. When you put them back on, but they shouldn't come off in this situation. So you want to take them off. It's good to take them off from corners the same way you'll see when we put them back on. But you want to take 4, like I said, try to puncture that just a little bit. And so the key here too is make sure you have the right screwdriver. If it feels like it's going to strip there, so at this point you're going to wiggle, and this should pull off from there. You do not have to touch the back plate on this to to do what we're doing on there. So basically, as you can see right now, if I pull right here, it's coming off, and you want to wiggle around, and then once you get off a little bit, there you go. You want to kind of shimmy it side to side and wiggle, and it should come off. Every card's different. This one came off pretty easy. I'm anticipating that this is the original inside here, and we're about to find out in a second from the history of this card. This we should definitely, nobody's been in here. So at this point, you're gonna separate it from there. You don't want to bend anything, so you want to make sure to pull up, and you're gonna lift it up like that. And be careful. There's a wire here for the fan. And so with the fan, you want to wiggle this back and forth. Sometimes these things are a pain to get off. This one I could tell right now is fighting me. So you do not want to yank on it. You can pull the harness wires out. You can pull the connector, the plug side of it that it plugs into off of the actual board. So you don't want to do that. So the rule of thumb here is to wiggle it. If you can't get it around, get something plastic, like we use the iFixit tools. Some plastic, or even a flathead screwdriver, and basically sometimes you get build up a little crust around where it slides in right there. You'll see this little thing, and basically just run around there and get some crust. And as you're wiggling it, and I can actually feel that it just loosened up. So there, so that's pretty much that right there is where where the crust builds up. So you want to get so now once you have it there, should come out pretty easy. So you want to go and you want to get like I said, you want to make sure that you have it, a tool to help with that. And as you can see, if I wiggle now it came right out. So now you look, yeah, this I want to zoom in, but this thermal paste is bad. So that's all dried up, and as you can see, it's not all of it's there anymore. So that's just typical. But so what we're gonna want to do here is you're gonna want paper towels, and I prefer alcohol pads. You can pick them up, at any pharmacy or anything like that, or alcohol and Q-tips. You can put alcohol in the end there. But what you want to do is you want to get a paper towel, and you want to get the most of this off, and you want to try to get it off without spreading it through the any of the electronics within the GPU there or on the logic board. So basically, you want to basically go and grab whatever you're going to use to clean it, and slowly work it. And one of the good practices here is, as you get a lot of this thermal paste off, especially if you're using alcohol pads or paper towels, get it off, and then once you accumulate a little bit on there, throw it out. Like, see, because what's gonna happen, you're gonna set this thing off to the side, and you're gonna try to use it again, and you're gonna get it on your fingers, and you're gonna get it on the logic board, and everything. So basically, clean up as much as you can, throw it out, grab another one. Especially with the alcohol pads, they're so cheap. So you want to use, so at this point, you want to grab alcohol pad, and you want to basically, get it on there and get any of the residue off and the rest of the thermal paste that you couldn't get off before, and it should come off easy. Like I said, every video card's slightly different, but same procedure, and you want to get that off. And like I said, at this point, you want to make sure there's none in the surrounding electronics. As you can see, those pads there, nope, don't have to worry about those. There's no thermal pads that go on there. But over here, as you can see, this is where the thermal pads. If you look, you see there's moisture on them, and that's from the broken down thermal pad. So, which I'll show you the thermal pad size. So you want to take the paper towel and wipe all that off. You basically want to get any residue from the thermal pad off of there, because that's all getting replaced. And like I said, use multiple pieces of paper towel or alcohol pads. Don't be stingy on that. It's very worth it. And like I said, that's the expensive side of this job. I mean, joking around. But so you basically want to get that cleaned up. You want to, rub off any, stuff that you see on there, and you want to basically get that, taken care of. And if anything is hard to get off, you definitely want to, make sure that you don't scratch the surface on the on the chip. So now we're gonna go bring it to the heat sink. Exact same thing right here. There's the thermal pads. You see the liquid in there? So that's basically, it's sweating from the broken down. Look at those thermal pads. I mean, they've seen better days. So same thing here. You're gonna grab, with this a paper towel to get the light stuff off, and try to keep it, clean over there. Try not to get none inside the cracks or inside the heat sink or something like that. Just gonna make cleaning up the job a lot harder. But with that, being said, you're gonna get that, throw that in the garbage. Next, grab an alcohol pad, and get down whatever you missed, or just make sure you got everything off of there. And like I said, this should come off pretty easy once again. Like I said, if it fights you, that is copper, and you want to make sure that you don't use like a hard screwdriver or anything that's harder than the surface of that. So basically, you want to use something plastic. The iFixit toolkit comes with a bunch of plastic utilities in there. Guitar pick if you have one laying around the house. But for the most part, you want to go and get it all off of there, and make sure, like I said, you don't want to use a metal screwdriver as there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. So in here, fan shroud is 6 screws. I'm going to zoom out here and show you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You want to take these out, and we're going to pull the fan shroud off the heatsink to clean the inner side of the fans. Like I said, this one's not super bad, but I recommend doing it. It doesn't take long, and if you have the right tools and alcohol pads and all that, you're done real quick. You have it apart, do it right. Like I said, these video cards are still expensive, very expensive to replace. So whether you're mining or you're gaming, either way, you're in the same scenario. So here you go. So as you can see, lots of inside dust on the fans. I recommend putting the heatsink off to the top, and remember where the wire to the fan is in the top right there. So when you put them back on, you make sure you put the right way. You can sometimes, in this model you can't, but sometimes the heatsink will go either way. So you don't want to get the whole thing back together to realize that the fan wire doesn't reach and it's blowing the wrong way or whatever. So it's good to pay attention while you're doing that. And here you're going to want to grab an alcohol pad, and you're basically going to want to go and you're going to want to put the alcohol pad through the backside of the fan. And first time around each blade, you just want to kind of give a nice with your finger, I think, rub it. You don't have to be too crazy with getting inside the every close to the fan, all that. What you could do with that is like I said, you grab the plastic tool that I suggest, right, and basically use that, and this will speed up the process. If you have something, maybe a pen or something similar, and basically you want to go and use your fingers to your left hand, or depending on whether you're left or right-handed, and basically spin it as you're cleaning. And the whole goal the first time around is to get 90% of the dust and dirt off, and you want to get around, and to speed up the process, And as you can see, this alcohol pad's getting dirty really fast. So, like I said, feel free, as it accumulates dust and dirt, they become less effective on the cleaning side. So, throw it out, grab another one. Buy a lot of these. Even if you do minor electronic repair and stuff like that, these things are always handy. But as you see, one quick around, and already a lot better. One of the main goals of getting the dust off here, so this dust doesn't get worse and cake up and get into the heatsink, and also so it doesn't throw the fan off balance due to weight. If one side gets more dust, and the way that can happen is it will accumulate dust at the same rate on all the fans, but some of it will come off, and that's just randomly how it would come off. And basically, if some of these blades accumulate more dirt, then the opposite side of it will cause an off balance, which will cause the bearings to put weight on certain areas as it spins, which will cause your fan to eventually go bad. So there's multiple reasons to keep these clean, but either way, it's good. It's a good thing to have these things clean. Definitely. As far as inside here, you can run it through here. If you see surface dust on here, it's always good. But that's cosmetically, you don't have to go too crazy with the nooks and crannies in there, but you do want to see the difference in the fan. So now you want to go at this point and do the outside. I mean, you got it. Why not? Right? You got it this far apart. Do all that. Get the dirt off. So good thing with this too is eventually you're probably going to want to get rid of this car, whether if it still works and you're onto your next project or onto a newer video card. So it's good to maintain these for the person that buys it next. They'll appreciate it, and won't know the time and work you put into it. But so now we're gonna go do the other side. Once again, replace these alcohol pads as they accumulate the dirt. But you want to go around and you want to take your time on this. This one's like not too bad, but like I said, your card might be not as bad as this. Your card may be twice as bad as this. I've seen it all. I've seen customers come in and have real bad ones coming in. So, but as you can see, on this one, should come off pretty simple. Do not want to use anything metal on here. You don't want to scrape the fan. You don't want to put too much pressure on here. These fan blades can break, so you don't want to do that. You just want to take your time. And as you can see, we're nearing in towards the end of here, and not very time consuming. These alcohol pads definitely speed up the process, but like I said, you want to go around and and you want to make sure, and really important, like I said, you want to make sure you get the dirt and dust that's closer in here, towards the center. That's the hard part, and that's where it's really gonna throw the unit off balance, if anything. Is as you can see, some of these have a lot of dirt in there and some have none. So that will be well worth taking the time. And like I said, you know, clear off and let it do that. But like I said, at this point, you know, we're gonna pull these off. Like I said, you know, use the alcohol pads if you got them. Use the plastic spatula. You know, use you know, pen if you got, or whatever you have laying around. You know, try to avoid anything metal in this situation. So here I'm just gonna clean up here just to kind of, you know, why not? Got everything else all done. But for the most part, there you have it. You know, gonna do the outside on this real quick, and you know, there you have, you know, the shroud, fan, and all that's, you know, looking like new again. You know, so now we're gonna flip it upside down. You know, make sure the wire harness is on the top right like before, because we know the fan went that way. You know, set this back in. Make sure the holes are aligned visually. People that see my videos before, yes, you know, put the screws in a few turns, halfway maybe, and do each one of them. You know, and the reason why I do that, in case something doesn't line up, you have a little, you know, one of the screws ain't torqued down. You have a little playroom to move the, you know, in this case, the heat sink around. You know, what's very important that if you're doing this is that, you know, you make sure when you get to the last screw, you torque that down and then you go back and tighten up the other ones. So you know, but like I said, you know, practice that I've always done, and you know, and I've done it, you know, before in the past. That's why I've done this, where you tighten up the one screw and then the other one doesn't like, then you have to go back and loosen it to, you know, move it a little bit. So now we're going to torque this one down, and then we're going to go all the way to the other side, torque that one down, and we're going to do, you know, corners. So there, there's 6 screws total, so we're going to do the 5th. And these you do snug, it's because it's going into a plastic connection, so you don't want to tighten these, you want to make sure it's snug. So there we have it. And now that's back undone. So if you have dust here, which we don't, you know, use a toothbrush if you got laying around, or the iFixit cleaning brush, which we use. We'll run that through there, you know, and blow through, vacuum, whatever you got. And basically you want to be able to see through there. And as you can see, you know, you can see through, see my hand through the back, so you want to be able to make sure you can see through that heat sink and there's no major dust in there. So take the time to clean that out. This didn't need it. So now what we're gonna do is thermal pad. So we're gonna, you know, show you how to get this off. You want to, once again, get your plastic tool if you have it, and you want to basically peel this up, and then you want to try to get this pad off where it's reusable for 2 reasons. One, we got to measure it up, and actually 3 reasons. 2, we're gonna want to you know, also you're gonna want to measure up, and then you're gonna also want to, you know, if you have let's say you think you have the right thermal pads and you don't, and you have to put this back on temporarily because you want, you know, this is your game machine, this is your only video card, save it so you can put it back on as an emergency thing if something goes wrong after you get to this part. But you know, also you want to, you know, also make it easier to clean up the surface area, you know, so it's just, you know, an easy wipe down. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna, you know, take your thumb, peel back, and work your plastic tool. Once again, do not use metal here, and you're gonna basically scrape, you know, down on that. And you can press hard because it's plastic on metal, so you're not gonna scuff the metal up. And you want to just work it like that, and as you get it going, you're gonna peel the thermal pad back farther each time. So basically what you want to do is you want to do that, and then you're gonna peel it, like I said, and you know, don't stretch it in case you might have to, as a mercy, use this thermal pad. This thermal pad's pretty much shot as far as ever using it anywhere else. So you know, there, you should get it off, and then want to set it off to where you can use it to measure there. So what you want to do now is we're going to put in the description of where you can buy multiple size thermal pads, but we're going to size it up. This has a cover. You know, our thermal pads that we bought have plastic on both sides, so you want to make sure you just size up the thermal pad. You can pull the plastic off the measure, or just, you know, basically if the thermal pad is a little bit bigger with the plastic on there, it's the right size. The rule of thumb with this is you do not want to use a thermal pad. Say you have a thermal, you don't have the exact size, but you have a thermal pad that's a little bit smaller and a thermal pad that's a little bit bigger. You definitely want to go with the bigger. You do never want to go with the little bit smaller. I mean, you want to, you know, want to always try to use the right exact size, but a little bit bigger, you know, will still get the job done. You know, it will, you know, the pressing down of it will expand, and you know, we'll get the job done. If it's too small, as you can see, like this one, that's small. So basically, it's not going to press down hardly, or it's going to put hardly any pressure on it, which is going to stop the heat transfer from the heat sink to the chips. So so like I said, you want to ideally get the exact size. As you see, we have a variety pack. We just have a bunch. I want to put that in the description for you guys where to obtain those. But for the most part, that's what I suggest. If you have to go bigger, everybody has their own thoughts and all that, and I'm sure there's going to be comments on there that say, don't use it bigger, this, that. I've used bigger before. We have lots of cards out there that we've done this and never had any issues with it. So there. Also, when you're, keep in mind with this, I think I went over this before, but there's no indentations. Those indentations were put on by the chip. So for people saying, "Oh, do I have to buy it? Does it come with the indentations?" And they're absolutely not. You're just looking for a standard thermal pad. And it's gonna press down and do its job. When you put the screws in on there, and you can see the 2 screw posts. So now what you want to do is grab something to use to cut the thermal pads. We use these nice scissors, these old-fashioned scissors we have that work awesome, and you can cut through there. You could use a razor too. It's just I recommend scissors. It makes it easier. And what we're gonna do is this pad that I have is a little off, on the one side as far as being straight. So we're gonna trim that edge just so we get a. Now, once again, these edges don't have to be perfect on here. You have room to play on thermal pads. You definitely would rather have a little bit bigger. In this application, there, see how it's a little bit longer? That's going to be fine. We have, room, so it's going to be fine on there. But definitely want it longer than, do not want it shorter than what you pulled off, because, that could mean it's not a chip. And you want to eyeball right there, and then pull away and just basically eyeball the cut all the way up. Like I said, get it straight as possible. If you're going in or out a little bit, you have a little room to play on there, but for the most part, as you can see, like on the bottom there, it's a little bit wider, and then you want to take that off. And now that we have it cut, put that off to the side. On these thermal pads, you have plastic. Usually you should have plastic on both sides. On the ones that we use, we have the red plastic, that peels off on the one side, and then the clear on the other side. So what we usually do is we pull off the red side, and there's, it doesn't matter, but this is what we do. And you pull off, and make sure you pull it off, and then on the other side you see there's see-through. So as you can see there. So basically we're gonna pull the red off first, and we're gonna set this, there. And what basically you want to do, as far as, you want to lay it down and get to kind of where the other one was. You want to make sure it's, and you should pay attention when you took the other one off where it was, but you want to do that. So now, as you can see, there's a hard plastic topping on there. It is very, very important that you take that off. So if you bought thermal pads that don't have a top, just make sure they don't have top plastic. All the thermal pads I've ever bought have the plastic top. But I imagine somebody out there is probably making it without the thermal top to save a few pennies or whatever reasons. So make sure. The way you should be able to tell, though, is you should be able to tell the difference between a hard plastic top and the soft rubber compound. So peel that off. Really important. Like I said, make sure that's off. If you do not take that off, you will have an awful smell / overheated graphics card / maybe damaged graphics card. So make that off. Now you want to just as I was doing that, you see I kind of off-centered it, so we're going to take a little time and re-straighten this out. But you basically want to get this back to where the other one was, and you want to get it centered as possible. And unlike double-sided tape, you can pull this off and put it down several times, and you're not really ruining it. And so there you have it. So you have the thermal pad on, you have the GPU clean, a little off-centered. I mean, the cut was a little crooked there. I'm not going to take the time. So now you got that, so now we're going to swap out the prepped fan shroud and heatsink, and we're going to do the thermal paste. So we use Artic Silver 5. Like I said, it's a polysynthetic silver. That's what we use. I know there's other stuff out there. Feel free to do your research. We've been using this for over 20 years, and similar brands, similar brands of Artic Silver. I'm a big Artic Silver fan. It's always worked good, and the pricing's not bad. What you want to do here is you want to run 3 strips, along the chip line, and space them out a little bit, and you don't have to put too much on here. Once again, you'll see videos where they put a little bit right in the middle, or a big glob in the middle, or 1 strip. This chip, I recommend 3 strips. It don't have to be too thick, but it'll spread out evenly. And I have better luck with doing the multiple strips, just because that's how I've always done it, and I've never had a problem. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you basically want 3 strips. For some reason, it doesn't come out like you saw right there evenly. Just reapply it on there. And the whole goal here is to have the 3 strips. Artic Silver doesn't have to be pretty looking. It's going to spread out, when you put the heatsink on. So, but that's what it should look like. Like I said, feel free to research. I've never had a problem over 20 years of doing it this way, so I can tell you it will work. But that being said, make sure everything else is free. Make sure where the thermal pads going, you got no crummy old thermal paste in there, or any paper towels or anything. But like I said, make sure there's no Artic Silver or whatever thermal paste you use inside the GPU chips, inside there. Definitely get it out if not. So what you want to do now is you want to go and you want to, the whole goal is you're going to want to spread this on here. So what I recommend is that you put the chip and, leave it right there, and you want to basically take this fan wire and plug that in first. So, because you may not be able to get to that, and it should go in very simple. If it doesn't, back it out and put it in, but you want to put it in there, and then you have it right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this thing and put the fan down, just so I can eyeball these holes up and not mess up the nicely laid Artic Silver that I got on there. So you're gonna eyeball them up. As you can see, I got the camera right over top, so I should be able to see through on here. And I'm gonna eyeball it up, and I'm actually using the camera to eyeball. And as you can see, I can see it perfectly in there. And you want to lay it down, and you want to put it in, and right there, and perfect. And that was good. That was a good first drop. If you're slightly off, you can back it up a little bit, and or just slightly tilt it. Grab one of the screws with the spring, and here what you want to do is you just want to do 1 screw. 1 turn, make sure you thread it in there, and you want to put the 4 with the springs. You want to go across from it, so whichever one you start on, go across from it, and there you want to do 1 screw, and then you want to basically get the 4 screws in there. What's very important on here is that these screws, when you doing these turns, and make sure that they go in very easy. If they feel like something's wrong, back them out. That means you went in crooked and you're about to strip inside there, which you do not want to do. These screws should go right in, and if they're not, then you have something misaligned, or you not putting the screw straight in. So back it out. As you see, I'm getting 1 easy turn on each of these. At this point now, you're gonna want to go grab the screws for the thermal pad side, and these don't have screws. You want to put these in. These ones you can pretty much screw in. Make sure they go in easily, and screw them down to where they're, you feel a little bit of resistance. At this point, you have it on nice. You want to torque these down. Now, for people that in the car industry or seen or heard it, you want to pull these straight down. So what you want to do here is you want to do 1 turn and then go across, 1 turn, and you want to that screw, 1 turn, 1 turn, and you want to keep repeating that. And basically, you want to pull that down. You're doing that so it evenly pulls down the heat sink onto the GPU chip for the Artic Silver or your thermal paste to be spread evenly. So so you want to do this. You want to take your time. Don't be alarmed. And you're gonna do the 4 screws with the springs and not worry about the other 2 until you get certain there. But you basically want to do this. And if you have to do it 5 times, that's fine. If you do it 30 times, you do it. And now you can go over here once you get them pretty snug. And basically you want to go and you want to get them all to where, they get pretty snug. And don't be alarmed if one of them bottoms out first. That's fine. Sometimes there's different resistance on the springs. There's different, you might caught the original, thread faster on the first initial turn. But you're basically going around and you're working them all and you pull them down, and then you work these 2 screws in. And the main key here is make sure you have the right thickness of the screwdriver. So if you don't get a slight, if it feels like they're slipping or they're slipping off as you screw, make sure you get the right screwdriver head. And at this point, you get it here. You want to make sure that you torque these down so you can put pressure on these, because these are pretty strong. So you want to from straight up top with the right screwdriver, you want to torque them. As you can see, I'm only getting a little bit of turn on here, and you're going to keep doing that. And you're basically going to do it, and you're going to go around all of them. And like I said, you don't want to use no leverage bar or anything on these, but you want to torque them pretty good. And like I said, you want to screw them down and go through two sides over here where the memory thermal pads, and you want to do that. And basically, you'll know, and if it gets the part which is starting to do where I can barely turn them, you're good. Like I said, every card is different. Even the same model of the cards. So you just want to basically make sure you got decent pressure on them, and you want to get it down. And like I said, and once you feel like you said that they're not going anymore, you're pretty much done with that. Yours may went a little bit quicker than mine. Yours may went a little bit longer than mine. Don't be alarmed by that. The key is to make sure they're going evenly. But like I said, so at that point, you're good on there. You want to make sure if you could get that void warranty sticker barely touched, then that's a good thing. So if you have it off the RMA, maybe they'll overlook it or think that it's not totally destroyed. Maybe you'll get away with it. But like I said, there you have. So now that's screwed on. So now as you can look down inside, make sure the fan wire is plugged in. Make sure the fans are free there, moving. And you can see the thermal pad in there. As you can see, it's squished down a little bit. And as you can see on that side, you can see the thermal pad squished inside there also. So there you have it. That's thermal pads are on. So at this point, we're gonna throw it back in our temporary mining. Make sure the fans are, like I said, nothing's in there. You didn't put anything crooked or leave a piece of paper towel or something in there. But we're gonna put this back in our mining rig, and we're gonna give this thing a test and check out the temperatures. Okay, so now we have the card back into the test rig. We're going to turn it on, as you can see. So the fans are spinning up. So a few things you want to check out is that actually make sure the fans are spinning, to make sure they're spinning freely. You didn't get them stuck or seized up or wires not plugged in. And it's very important while this is booting up, and we'll start to mine in a few seconds. Right after you do this, you want to test this, whether you're a gamer, you want to go into some kind of stress test utility, a game that you can monitor the temperature. You want to basically test it while you're monitoring the temps. Reason being, you want to make sure that you put the thermal paste on, didn't forget a pad, the right thickness of the pad. You basically want to make sure if this thing's going to overheat, that you can catch it right now and fix the problem. You don't want to go and just fire up a game and start playing and say, oh wow, this game's playing good, or throw it into your mining rig and walk out the door and assume that you're going to come back later and not have any issues. So you want to right off the bat do that. As you can see, we're doing here. As you can see, the temperature is right from the start, 32 right there on the GPU, so that's good. It's already mining at minimal, but 5 megahash, but it's at 41. As you remember before, I believe when it was hitting like 6 megahash, it was already in 60s. Like I said, the fan percentage jumps around. I was at 30 before, 38 and 40 now. But the whole goal is it's all gonna even out. And you shouldn't see the fan go up to 80 or 100 anytime soon. So there we go. So like I said before too, 26.5 is about what this card's doing right now. The clocks that I did, it's kind of underclocked. This card's a little finicky, but I kind of underclocked it for the sake of this video also, to keep the temps down, to show that even not even pushing the card, it was overheating prior. So I'm gonna leave it at these clocks. I think this card gets like 29.5 or close to 30, and we clock it down a little bit due to it's always been that way. But so here we go. So we're at 50 now. I anticipate this room's cool. It's not in a full rig. I think we're gonna only see it get a little bit hotter. Which is a huge increase from before. Like I said, this one it was a no-brainer. I could see right now according to these temps, thermal pads are doing, improperly. Thermal paste is good. I look at that. I'm thinking around 60 on the memory there. 55, 58 on the GPU, which is cool. For this card, in this situation. So we're gonna see here. As you can see, the fans pretty much, not gonna go over 50%. Might even drop down at one point. So there we are. So we're in here. So the card is hashing properly. The temps look good. Like I said, we're gonna see in a second here, but it should get stable on there. But so, like I said, key factors here of whether to do this or not. Like I said, check to make sure the car's not under warranty. If you're not sure, just try to RMA. I actually RMA'd at XFX. So I think it was a 5800. It was actually a customer that did not want to go through the hassle and want to upgrade their card, and I was able to get them something else. And they gave me the card. I was able to RMA it. I got the card back. It is in one of my mining rigs right now, doing 30 mega hash, and came back, and it's been good for, that was 3 months ago, 2.5 months ago. Took XFX about 2 weeks, which to me wasn't bad. They actually sent me a whole different card back, and I was fine with that. Especially free card's always a good one. But there you have 54, kind of right exactly where I thought it would be. Actually 1 degree cooler on both. But like I said, the key here is to let it go. This uptime has been what, 4 minutes now. So in the mining world, that's forever. Joking around. Temperature wise, they're pretty much where they are. I expect this card to get definitely hotter once it's in our mining room, along with the other cards and the heat and the in the variables of the room. But basically, the thermal paste is doing its job. The thermal pads are doing their job. On this particular card, for the people wondering, the memory was where the pads were, the paste was where the GPU were. So if you have a high temp on one of the two, then you'll know it was either the thermal paste or the pads, like I said. But if you follow those instructions, you should see these there. For some reason you did all this and you're still getting overheats. There are times where it could be the fan that you don't think, and in the fan you could pretty much tell by putting your hand behind it and feeling the air blow out, and whether it's bad or not, or just physically looking at it. So that's one of the keys. And then there are times too where there could be other issues with the card causing the overheat, which is a whole nother monster. But like I said, in my experience, I'd say 99% of the time with the situation of this card, especially when it got gradually worse, it was that. So with that being said, I'm happy with these temps, 55 and 60. Like I said, this video is for the XFX RX 570 RS XXX, which you see up top there. Similar for other cards, but that was for here. Sub our channel. Any comments, leave them in the comment section. We will comment back anything. We're going to put that link in there for the thermal pads for you guys. And like always, we're going to try to get more of these videos out from Empire Mining. But have a good day.